In this video, I will be connecting Notion to Claude, a great way for both creating content in Notion as well as interacting with existing Notion data without having to leave Claude. If you're a heavy Notion user like me and Claude is slowly becoming your operating system, then this connection is a must-have. I will also share with you how you can turn your repeatable Notion interactions into Claude skills, which can save even more time and AI costs for both you and your team. Let's dive right in. All right, so here I am in Claude. I'm actually using the app version on my desktop, but this will also work on the web version if you don't have the app installed on your computer. To connect Notion, I went to the plus icon here, then connectors, then add connector, browse connectors. And this opens up a gallery of connectors here where you need to search for Notion. Here's the Notion MCP. If you're not familiar with an MCP, it's basically like an interface layer for AI assistants to be able to interact with the Notion API in order to automate actions. Now, I already connected Notion before and now I disconnected it for this tutorial. So it shows me this refresh icon instead of a plus icon, but it does the same thing. It basically it begins the connection process. So I'm going to click on that. And now I will be taken to the Notion login page. I already have my Notion, I'm already logged into Notion in my browser, so I don't need to enter my credentials here. I just click continue, and this should establish a connection with my Notion account. There we go, connected to Notion. And if I go down to connectors again, here is the Notion connection active. All right, so to test it out, I'm going to ask Claude here to list out the databases I have in Notion. Claude will look through the Notion MCP and it will find out the tools that it needs to trigger in order to retrieve the list of databases that I have in my Notion account. You can see here that it's looking for tools, and then it found this search Notion tool that it needs to make an API request to in order to retrieve the databases. And here's my list of databases. Now keep in mind that if you're running this on an account with hundreds and hundreds of databases, it will obviously not show you every single one. You will need to give it additional guidance on how to narrow it down and only retrieve the ones that you want to interact with in this particular session. But yeah, my account is a bit small here, so it retrieved all of them because I don't have that many databases. And then what I want to do next is I want to ask it to create a page for me. So create a new page called to do. So it will go ahead and to call the Notion create pages tool, which will create a page here. So I copy the link. I go to my browser where I'm logged into Notion. I paste the link, and here's a to-do page. Now what I did next here is I asked it to add a task to this page to see if it can add block elements. So I went ahead and updated the page and added a to-do list item there. And then I asked it to create an inline database that will show reminders. So I asked it to add a title, a description, and a date field for each record. And it went ahead and created the database and embedded it on the page. As you can see, here it is, reminders. So it's able to update the page and add all the content blocks that I want. So if I'm using Claude as kind of like my source of data or the source of my content, I can then easily push it over to Notion, and the MCP should figure out, what blocks to create in order to translate that content into a format that is nicely displayed in Notion. Now, what I want to do next is show you how I interact with existing pages in Notion. So here I have a sales CRM with accounts, an accounts table, an opportunities table, and a contacts table. Each one of these tables has some sample data in it. So here are the accounts, here are the contacts, and here are the opportunities. And what I can do is ask Claude questions on this data. So for example, get me all the opportunities that I'm currently prospecting, right? So it will go on the opportunities table. It will figure out which is the field that shows the status of the record, and then it will retrieve all the records that have the status equal to prospecting. And here they are. Going over to opportunities, as you can see, these are the records that are set to prospecting, so it's correct. Now, as you may have noticed, every time I ask Claude to interact with the Notion MCP, it needs to go through a process to figure out the steps that need to be executed, basically the tools that need to be called on that Notion MCP in order for the right data or the right actions to be performed to achieve the goal, right? And this can take, if you're doing this repetitively, it can be quite time consuming, because every time Claude needs to figure out what to do. And it's actually, it can also be expensive, because all this thinking that Claude is doing consumes AI credits. So what I want to show you now is how to turn some of these interactions into skills. So every time you want to do that same action again, it will call a skill that already contains all the instructions, all the steps that it needs to take in order to arrive to the outcome that you want, right? So all you have to do is just say, turn this process into a skill, right? So it will go through the chat history, and it will figure out what steps it took to arrive to the result, and then it will write a file. That's what a skill is. It's just a file that contains all these step-by-step instructions on how to basically arrive to the same outcome. You can see here it's creating a skill.md file for prospecting opportunities skill. And within a few seconds, it should be ready. There it is. So this is the skill file. Now all I need to do is just click here, save skill. And now if I go to a new session and say, get me all my latest opportunities, I don't even need to tell it that I'm looking into Notion. It figures that out from the skill. And just like that, here they are, right? So it took far less time and less thinking, less tool calling to arrive to the same result. So every time you figure out how to do something with the Notion MCP, and I'm sure you have much more complex workflows than I have, which involve multiple steps, you can turn those processes into skills to save a lot of time and also cut down on AI costs. And another great benefit of skills is that they're easily shareable. So if you're running a sales team or a business and you want to share these skills with your teammates, your employees, your colleagues, you can just copy these files, send them to them, and ask them to install them in their Claude. They can actually do that under the Customize tab here. So automatically you make their workflows more efficient as well, because Claude will know exactly how to interact with Notion based on the processes that you defined. So that's it for this video. That's how you connect Claude to Notion, and how to interact with the Notion MCP, as well as how you create skills to save time and save costs. If you like this video, please let me know in the comments below, and also let me know if you have any questions or suggestions on videos that you would like to see next. With that said, thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to see you on the next video.